How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, this story needs to be heard to be believed. Now, like I say, we've got no solid proof of it yet, but we're working on it. Now, I speak to a lot of people up and down the prison system: prisoners, former prisoners, prisoners' girlfriends, prisoners' wives, prisoners' mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, etc., etc. Now, I was shocked the other day when I spoke to a prisoner's girlfriend who's from Liverpool. Her fella's from Liverpool, but he's currently residing at HMP Berwyn. He's due out on the 17th of May this year. I speak to her regularly. She's cool as fuck, a very loyal prisoner's girlfriend, lives for a man, and she's extremely clued up. She's more clued up than a lot of prisoners, and she's never been in prison. She really is on it. Well, in a phone call, she said to me that in that prison in HMP Berwyn, they have a thing called the Berwyn Times, apparently. Now, the Berwyn Times is an in-house, in-prison publication which is slid under prisoners' doors, telling them what the latest going on are with the prison. Now, Callie told me that her boyfriend told her on the prison phone that prison officers are going to be armed or possibly armed with tasers. Yes, you heard me right. Tasers. Now, there's nothing that's come out there from the Ministry of Justice or the Prison Officers Association or anything like that. I believe Callie 1,000,000%. She's solid. The information's solid. Every little bit of thing she's ever told me has been on the money. Now, what I'm asking you guys, if you guys got someone that's in HMP Berwyn, right? What I'm trying to do, I want to get hold of. If someone can get hold of this HMP Berwyn Times or this Berwyn Times and get it out, get it to you, send me pictures on WhatsApp, right? Send me a video, send me pictures so I can read the full thing, right? Because the reality is, guys, you know how big this story would be if prison officers had to be armed with tasers. Now, like I say, a lot of people might think it's a bit far-fetched and stuff like that. And I can understand what you're thinking is. Like, because even I was like, well, they've only just announced Parva sprays coming in now. They announced it in the last few months that Parva sprays to be rolled out in 2019 to prisons in England and Wales. I think it's public sector initially. Then I think they're also looking at private sectors, female prisons, and STCs or secure training centres. Now, guys, I've actually done an interview with the Prison Officers Association National Chair, which is a scumbag who wants to brutalise prisoners. Wants us in orange Guantanamo-style jumpsuits, wants us locked up 23 hours a day, which, depending on what prison you are in, you can spend 23 hours a day, 24 hours a day locked up. When he wants us out of our cells, he wants us in shackles like the old chain gangs from back in the day. He wants us in orange jumpsuits. He just wants prison to be horrific, right, for us. Right now, I said to him on the radio, I said, you want tasers for prison officers? And he said, yeah, I do. He said, in the current climate of violence within prisons, surely it makes sense to a prisoner who's smashing up his cell. I can put a red dot on his chest and we can escort him to the segregation unit. Now, I said to him, I said, right, well, you yourself have mentioned about mentally ill prisoners in the system, right? And I said, so let me give you a scenario. You've got a mentally ill prisoner in his cell, smashing the fuck out of his cell, slashing up, just lost his head in jail, guys. So by having a psychotic episode, he's not in charge of his own actions. I said, you can put a red dot on him, taser him, and drag him down to the segregation unit. And I said, you want to brutalise prisoners, Mark? And he said, we don't want to brutalise prisoners. And they do. And the fact is check this out. This is where the story takes a twist and it's getting more credible. Now, a lot of people, I put it on Twitter. It's not my information. The source of this story is Callie, not me. I'm not taking credit for someone else's work. Callie got this information from her fella inside Berwyn Prison. Now, I reached out to a journalist that works at the Daily Post, right, Lydia. Now, Lydia came back I said to her, this is what I'm hearing. And she was like, she took it with a pinch of salt. She couldn't really, but she didn't believe it, to be honest. Now, then she'd spoken to one of her sources who's a serving prison officer at Berwyn Prison. Now, she said that he confirmed the possibility of prison officers getting tasers, right? Now, not all prison officers would get them, I don't think. I think it's tactical use of taser, which means there'd probably be one officer per wing or security or the Mufti squad, whoever. Someone's going to have tasers, within the prisons, right? Now, like I say, it might take time to get out there. Now, initially, when I reached out to her, the first thing she did when I told the journalist, she ran straight to the Ministry of Justice. The Ministry of Justice wholeheartedly denied the allegation. She then did some more digging and came back to me the next day, and she said, I've spoken to a prison officer who's actually said, yes, there is a very real possibility of prison officers being armed with tasers. Now, where this would stem from, in my opinion, is just last year, because of the record levels we've seen of violence and within our prisons and stuff, we're seeing high record levels of violence year on year on prisoner to prisoner and prisoner to prison officer assaults. Now, where that stems from is mental health, mentally ill prisoners, anger, frustration, non-productive regimes, like I say, drugs, but also the smoking ban. Now, what you need to remember is the Prison Officers Association lobbied for the smoking ban, even going as far as to threaten a judicial review or a JC. Sorry, a JU. Oh, JC, judicial review. Yeah, no, JR, sorry, JR, a judicial review to get it fast-tracked so the smoking ban come in. Now, by banning smoking, like I said, it doesn't disappear. It goes underground. The prices go up. That incurs debt. Where you've got debt, you've got fear, intimidation, bullying and violence. You've got to think we've already got drugs in prison and spice, which is causing havoc in jails. So then they ban, they're poking sleeping prisoners by taking smoking off them, which is used as a stress relief and also currency for probably centuries, at least like decades after decades, right? Poking prisoners with a stick, and when they bite back, they say, look, violent prisoners. And do you know what they did, guys, right? They walked off the landings. They carried out strike action. Only going back to work once they'd sat down with the Ministry of Justice and the Prisons Minister and the Justice Secretary David Gork and Michael Spurr, who was at the time, well, he still is the Chief Executive of the Her Majesty's Prison and Probation Service. They got a 3.7% pay rise, I believe, or 3.5. They also got rigid bar handcuffs, which are like the police style ones with a metal grip, with a plastic grip in the middle, and also Parva spray. They've already got extendable batons as well. Body worn cameras and stuff, and like I say, but this taser thing, like I said, there's something in it, right? There's no reason. Why would her fella lie to her on the phone? He's got no reason to lie. He's got nothing to gain and nothing to lose. I believe him, right? And I believe her. And what we're going to try and do, what I'm asking you guys, right, is if you've got a loved one in Berwyn prison, if they've got a mobile phone, if they're coming on a visit, if they can get this to you in the post or the article and slip it, or even if it's not the full thing, but it's an article and it's folded down into like a stamp size and they pass it you on a visit and you can get that to me, right, I will get it in every national local paper. I really, really will. Because the outrage that this will cause, a lot of people on the right side of the tracks, they'll be like, oh yes, give them all a bloody taser in, do you know what I mean? Like I say, as soon as a prisoner gets hold of that taser, it's going to, it could cost the prison officer their life. If they bring it in, it's going to, right, if you can imagine you've got an incident at height or there's a fight or, do you know what, the truth is with prison violence the way it is, a prison officer who's got, like I say, extendable baton, he's going to have Parva spray, rigid bar handcuffs, body-worn cameras, you know what I mean? Right? Now, they're going to become over-reliant upon tasers, guys, and it's going to cause havoc within prisons. And if you've got an underlying health problem, there was a kid here in Manchester, God bless him, by the name of Jordan Begley. He was tasered by Greater Manchester Police, right, longer than he should have been. And I think it triggered a heart attack and he died, or he died from the effects of the thing. I think he might have had an underlying heart problem. Don't quote me on that, and God bless him. May he rest in peace. But the point is, tasers have killed people. And like I say, if an officer's got his batons, Parva spray, or a taser, right, what's he going to go for? Taser. How many mentally ill prisoners are going to end up getting tasered in prison? Now, if I'm speaking, this is aimed at anybody that has got someone in HMP Berwyn. I don't care. If you can get hold of this, right, this story will run and run. This will be on radio, this will be on national news, this will be in local newspapers, national newspapers, on the internet. It'll be done by bloggers. The Howard League for Penal Reform will be up in arms. The Prison Reform Trust will be up in arms. I'll be up in arms. I know it to be true. Like I say, it's not me that's passing this information. I've got it from a prisoner's girlfriend who spoke to her fella on the phone. They speak about everything that's going on within the prison, deaths in custody, prison news, how they're doing, the relationship, all the usual stuff, the kids, all the usual stuff. And they're absolutely wicked, both of them. I've actually spoken to him on the prison phone. He's a top guy. And he needs to hurry up back to his missus and his kids and stuff. But like I say, I believe the story to be true. The fact that the journalist has spoken to a prison officer within the prison, that you've got to think, right, you've got someone on the right side of the tracks, right, a prison officer that works at the prison or a Welsh prison, and has confirmed the possibility, not confirmed it's coming in, confirmed the possibility that tasers are being looked at. What do you think about the story, guys? It's not a story yet, it will be, because I'm going to get hold of this prison. I'm going to get hold of this Berwyn newspaper that states this, right? Because this is how it works, right? You go to a journalist with a story, right, and say, "Oh, well, I'm hearing this about a prison." They'll ring the Ministry of Justice. The Ministry of Justice can deny it. Just because they deny it doesn't mean it's not happening, right? It just means they don't want it to get out, right? So they'll probably be like, right, so by denying it, right, the journalists come back to me and said they've denied it. However, I was spoken to a serving prison officer off the record, which means she can't quote him, because if she could have quoted him, she could have gone on file and written the story. So what we're after, to contradict the Ministry of Justice and call them out as liars, because that's what they are. I think they're lying, right? You've got to look, guys. Would a taser? The initial idea surprised me, but if you look at prisons and what prisons are, housing, like warehousing, desensitized, dehumanized, mentally ill, angry, frustrated members of prisoners and stuff, it housed in them conditions with non-productive regimes and stuff, and violence record levels every year, and are going to continue to rise because the prison population is going to rise by 2022. The prison population is due to increase from around 86,000 to 90,000. More prisoners, more problems, more anger, frustration, death, misery and despair, violence, suicides and everything else that comes with it. I believe the story, guys, and if you've got anybody, do me a favour. If you've got someone in HMP Berwyn and they ring you on a mobile or they ring you on the prison phone or whatever the case may be, ask them if you can get that article, get a picture of it. If they've got a mobile, get a picture of it, get it sent to me. If you've got if you've got a loved one and they're speaking to you on the prison phone, just say to them, is it true that in the Berwyn Times that prison officers are potentially going to be armed with tasers? And see what they say. And if people are coming back and saying yes, was definitely something, I already know there's something to it, but what I'm after, in a nutshell, I want the article so I can go back to the journalist and say, haha, the MOJ are lying. Just because they've denied it doesn't mean it's not happening. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. This will cause outrage, right? Like I say, right now, take it with a pinch of salt. I know it's true, but I don't want everyone saying, "Oh, well, you're talking shit." No, because like I say, I'm being told by a prisoner's girlfriend. I believe her wholeheartedly. I believe her fella. All I want is the article so I can take it to this journalist, and then the journalist can put it back to the MOJ, and actually she can write the story then, and the story will run and run and run. People, it's a very subjective matter. Those on the right side of the tracks will say, "Yes, great idea, taser the shit out of them." Us on the no that are on the left-hand side, prisoners, prison reform campaigners, former prisoners, families, will absolutely go mental, and rightfully so. How would you feel if your son was a paranoid schizophrenic or had severe health problems in prison, and then you found out he'd been tasered because he'd had a psychotic episode, it kicked off, and they just tasered him? You know what I mean? It's not, I don't have kids, man, but I speak to a lot of kids in jail. This would cause outrage, guys, and it would be a dangerous precedent to set, and it's going to cost prisoners' lives. And then, do you want the truth, guys? I've always said it, the prison system's been a powder keg for a very, very long time. You give prison officers tasers, right, if that is the way they go. I hope it's not, and I hope that it doesn't come to pass, and I hope it's not true, but I trust Callie and I believe it 1,000,000%. But if you can imagine, prisoners are not going to stand by and watch another prisoner get tased, right? What it will do, the prison system has been a powder keg for a long time. You arm prison officers with tasers, they're going to riot. And not just one prison, you'll get copycat prison riots. And prisoners with all the mobile phones and stuff like that, it'd be very easy for prisoners. I'm not telling them to do this. I'm just saying what could hypothetically happen. Prisoners could organise from prison to prison. Because if you actually look at the prison network, we're actually all in contact with each other, really. Prisoners know prisoners know prisoners, know former prisoners, know prisoners' families and stuff like that, associates and stuff, right? Prisoners could coordinate riots and stuff like that, do you know what I'm saying? But if one riot would start, then another one would kick off, and you get copycat riots, guys. And every time there's a riot and someone rings me, or a prisoner's girlfriend rings me and say, right, just to let you know, it's kicking off now in this prison, on this wing, I'd ring straight up to the national papers and journalists and news desks and radio news desks and photographers and stuff, and say, right, there's an ongoing situation at this prison, get there. And then what would happen? That'd be on the national news, other prisons would see it, or they could just do the mobile to mobile, sell like from one prison to the other. You know what I mean? But guys, you give prison officers tasers if it comes in, and if it's, like I say, it might be a year or so down the line, it might be 2 years. They might be trying to sneak it under the carpet and bring it under the radar so that it doesn't cause outrage and stuff. But the reality is the prison system will explode into violence. Yeah, man. Very, very, I hope to God it's not true, but I believe it to be true. If you've got a loved one in Berwyn, I'm going to leave you on this note. If you've got someone in Berwyn, please, 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 please ask them, in the latest episode or the latest publication of the Berwyn Times, does this state, is this a real thing? And they will tell you yes. Now, what you want then is, I'm saying to this journalist, this is true, but I've got no evidence, and the MOJ have denied it. So what do we need? We need physical proof that this taser thing is potentially being looked at by Ministry of Justice to arm prison officers tactically with taser. Not every prison officer, like I say, a select few, but tasers in prisons, guys. Just imagine that. You've got the nationals, they've got batons, they've got, like I say, if they're going in to do a cell extraction, they've got all the personal protective gear. They've got, so let's have a look what they've got at the disposal should they need them, right? So they've got the nationals. The nationals are like the specialist trained officers that go in like tornado squads and stuff when there's a riot situation in a prison, right? So they've got them on standby, right? They've got personal protective equipment within the prison, shields and stuff like that, to go in to do a cell extraction. They've got parva spray, rigid bar handcuffs, extendable police batons, body-worn cameras, and potentially tasers, guys. What next? You know what I mean? What next? Are we going to go with the American thing where they've got like a hornet's nest, which is like a stinger grenade? You pull the thing, the screw will be up on the landing, he'll throw it down, and like they just shout, and then everyone just jumps on the ground and puts their hands on their head and stuff like that, and it just explodes like ball bearings everywhere. Do you know what I mean? What next? Baton guns, you know, like non-ballistic sort of baton gun where it's like a bean bag which is compressed. It hits you in the chest and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It can break a couple of your ribs. What next, guys? You know what I mean? But taser apparently has been looked at potentially. Like I say, I'd like to think it's not true, but like I say, this prisoner's girlfriend's been right about everything else she's ever told me, and I believe Callie 1,000,000%. And I believe a fella, like I say, he's got no reason to lie and no reason to, he's got nothing to gain and nothing to lose, right? And when a journalist contacts the MOJ and they deny it, and then a prison officer confirms it's a possibility, you've got to think there's something more in the story. I'm going to put these screenshots at the front of the video to prove what I'm saying. Let me know what you guys think on that subject. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.